Good morning. It's been almost 2 months since the election. Justin Trudeau called the election because of the urgency of the times, he said. He said it was a pivotal moment in Canada's history. So pivotal that he hasn't even met with his own MPs who were elected for almost 2 months, and he's delaying a return of the House of Commons. His first order of business is to let his new Liberal members of Parliament know that they will have to accept a radical Liberal-NDP coalition agreement. This coalition will mean billions of dollars of new spending to buy just Jagmeet Singh's silence. Les élections ont eu lieu il y a presque 2 mois. Après presque 2 mois, Justin Trudeau va finalement avoir une réunion avec ses propres députés. Son premier ordre du jour va être de dire à ses députés libéraux qu'ils vont devoir accepter un accord pour créer une coalition libérale néo-démocrate radicale. Cette coalition va provoquer des milliards de dollars en nouvelles dépenses, spécialement pour acheter le silence de Jagmeet Singh. Canadians can't afford this coalition. The Liberal-NDP coalition would be a disaster for the Canadian economy and cause devastating financial impacts for workers and communities from coast to coast to coast. Canadians are already struggling with rising prices, rising cost of living in Justin Trudeau's economy. Inflation is running at its highest point in 18 years. Paychecks have barely moved, and the economy is just limping along. The cost of everyday essentials, from gas to groceries to housing, are all going up. Household budgets are stretched thin, especially for seniors living on fixed income and families raising young children. This coalition will create billions in new spending that will further drive up inflation even more. And this coalition will mean that Jagmeet Singh will be able to push an even more radical agenda that will threaten the livelihoods of millions of Canadians. Les coûts de produits comme l'essence, l'épicerie et les logements augmentent de jour en jour. Tous les jours, les budgets des familles en resserrent un peu plus, surtout pour les personnes âgées qui vivent d'un revenu fixe et les familles avec des petits-enfants. Cette coalition va entraîner des milliards de dollars en nouvelles dépenses. Et ces dépenses vont faire grimper le taux d'inflation encore et encore. Cette coalition va permettre à Jagmeet Singh de réaliser des politiques radicales. Ces politiques vont menacer les moyens de subsistance des millions de Canadiens. A Liberal-NDP coalition would shut down Canadian energy and resource sectors, eliminating thousands of jobs, dividing the country, and making Canada a poorer and less relevant nation. Canada's energy sector is the cleanest, most ethical, and most environmentally conscious in the world. When Canadian oil and gas producers commit to reduce emissions or to partner with Indigenous communities or enterprises, they will deliver on those commitments. That is not the case anywhere else in the world. By turning its back on hard-working Canadians, the Liberal-NDP coalition will increase Canada's reliance on countries with horrific human rights records and records that are poor on the environment and other important issues. The NDP will also help cover up Mr. Trudeau's corruption and ensure that he will continue to freely break or ignore laws without consequence. They've already done this several times over the last 6 years. Conservatives from across Canada will not stand by while the Liberal-NDP coalition threatens our prosperity and unity as a country. We are the only voice that will fight tirelessly for Canadians. We are the only voice that will work to rebuild our economy and fight inflation. And we are the only party that will seek to unite Canadians rather than continue the politics of division. L'NPD va également aider Justin Trudeau à camoufler sa corruption en plus de l'aider à violer les lois fédérales comme ils le font depuis 6 ans maintenant. Les conservateurs ne vont pas demeurer le bras croisé pendant que la coalition Liberal-NPD menace la prospérité des travailleurs et des familles. Nous allons tout faire pour défendre les Canadiens. In the months leading up to the campaign, I repeatedly warned that Justin Trudeau and the NDP have the same high tax, high spending agenda. Last June, I said we were at a crossroads, and despite having 4 parties, Canadians only had 2 choices, the Liberal-NDP bloc coalition or the Conservatives. Justin Trudeau has demonstrated time after time that he will do anything to hold on to power. He shut down Parliament, stifled dissent and accountability. He held an election in the middle of a pandemic. And now he's pledging a coalition to hide from Canadians. He's putting his clinging to power before the economic well-being of families. The election was a crossroads, and Justin Trudeau took a radical left turn. Canadians deserve better. In fact, Jagmeet Singh should tell the truth to Canadians. He did not run in that election on forming a coalition. So what is he being promised for him to break with his pledge during the election? Canadians deserve to be told the truth, and they deserve a parliament that will tackle the severe economic challenges facing Canadians across the country. There's only one party fighting to make life more affordable for Canadian families. If you care about securing your economic future and the economic future of your children and grandchildren, there remains only one choice: Canada's Conservatives. Un seul parti se bat pour rendre la vie plus abordable. Si vous voulez protéger votre avenir économique, celui de vos enfants et celui de vos petits-enfants, vous n'avez qu'un seul choix: le Parti conservateur du Canada. Thank you very much, and I'd be happy to answer your question.